Good morning. Wednesday, Pashas Emoir. As Hashem, Mamshech, our conversation we had yesterday regarding the anxiety. As was said yesterday, the number one workshop. Again, I would like to make it very clear. Anxiety is very natural when a person approaches danger or he's hallucinating danger. He automatically will fall to anxiety. Anxiety leads to panic attacks and so forth. But when the brain registering that there is a dangerous coming up, it will be naturally the person will get anxious about it. So that's the rule, and that's very natural. What we can do, we can reduce the anxiety. That's the work, to reduce the anxiety, to create certain atmosphere at home, which is this atmosphere itself will reduce the anxiety level of the child. And number one. Number two is when the child gets bigger, to change the perceptions and provide the child with right interpretation. What does danger mean? Of course, there's danger in life. Of course, sometimes there's there's very real danger, but not everything what you think is a danger is considered dangerous, and it requires a lot of education how to reduce the spectrum of danger. So one of the things, again, as we said yesterday, it requires upon the parents to create certain very pleasant atmosphere at home. One of the main things I think in today's generation why people suffer from anxiety, it's there's many reasons, but one of the I would say one of the three if we'll split the options in 10 options. I think the number one will be lachatz, pressure. Naturally, pressure leads to anxiety. Even by adults, when an adult feels he's pressured, he needs to accomplish something, and is very pressured by his finances or whatever it is, he'll fall into anxiety. So is by kids, of course. Kids, and a child is under the pressure. When the child has pressure, constant pressure, it leads the child to have anxiety. It doesn't really matter what kind of pressure. Sometimes a child has a pressure of executing his duties, like homework, home duties, or anything else, any other pressures. Or he receives the pressure at home. Let's say there is a very tense atmosphere between the parents themselves, and this gives a lot of tense and this gives a lot of pressure. It also very possibly can cause a lot of anxiety for a child. The etzem air, home air, tense home air can make the child feel anxious, self-understood. When as more anxiety the child is experiencing his life, it becomes like his habit, right, to be anxious. And of course, when behavior becomes a habit, it becomes very difficult to disconnect from this habit. Meaning to say that child feels that's how I'm supposed to live. I'm supposed to live with anxiety. So it's very important not to put pressure on the kids. This rule applies at school. This rule applies at home. So of course, the children need to do homework, but it has to be presented to them in a form of a pleasant form, not in the form of a pressure, because pressure is from higher numbers, which first numbers, which causes people to be anxious and anxiety. You can even experience in your own life. You see, when you pressure to have finances, you pressure for this, you pressure for that, your heart starts to beat, and you have headaches. Something can become dizzy. It's not a physical illnesses. It's pure emotional response. How your emotional system responding to fear and anxiety. So that's the rule. Rule is very clear. Lachatz, pressure, makes the person feel anxious. Therefore, again, it's very important to create and generate at home very pleasant air. Meaning to say, it's not. It can be Erev Shabbos is very hectic time for parents. You have to prepare for before Shabbos. You have to sweep the floors. You have to wash the floors. Whatever it is, you have to make preparations. Whatever it is, it never should be done with the pressure. With the pressure, when you pressure someone, it becomes, besides breaking it, installing in the child fears and anxiety. So if the mother wants to asking the child to clean before Shabbos, sweep the floors, clean the table, clean the counters, put away the dishes after the meal, Shabbos meal, it should not be done in a pressure form. Pressure form leads to anxiety, resistance, resentments, and so forth. But now we're talking about anxiety. And again, I would like to make it very clear note. Maybe it does not sound so severe, but I would like to bring the attention. Brain likes habits. Habits. That's how the brain operates. So some people have habits to like smoke. How the person will feel, and how the person will feel stopping the smoke. He'll feel terrible. Why? Because the habit of smoking became part of him. So the behaviors, brain adopts very, very, very fast the behaviors. So sometimes a child who was raised under pressure, and that caused him to be anxious. Brain adopts this behavior and perceives it that that's the right way of living life. A right way to live life is to be anxious, constantly anxious. So forget if the child being raised in a home of joy, simcha, content, the brain adopts this behavior and tells the person that's the lifestyle. Lifestyle is to be constantly happy. So it's very important that the habits applies not only to behaviors, actually, it applies to emotions and perceptions as well. So therefore, it's important to create in the home and project that pleasant and calm atmosphere. It doesn't matter what kind of time is it. It's Erev Shabbos, it's Sunday, Monday, whatever it is. We have to force ourselves and work on it actually to generate positive energy at home. Be'etzem is apachat, anxiety. It's not just problem. Anxiety, it's a very strong source for any other disorders. That's called. It's a very global problem. It's anxiousness, anxiety. It prevents people of growing in life, developing in life. A person who's anxious, his development stops with the age or whatever he had constant anxiety. It prevents children of growing. Not only, it actually encouraging and instigates kids to lie. The question remains, why people lie? Why people lie? Why people can't just be honest? It's not that hard to be honest. We think it's hard to be honest. We think it's hard to say truth, but really it's not. Really, it's not hard to say truth. But why people choose to be shocker versus to say lie versus to say truth? The answer for the Rashi discovers us in Parshas Vayigash, a very significant message. Rashi is saying when Yehuda was spoke about yesterday, Yehuda came closer to Yosef. He wanted to talk to Yosef regarding his brother Binyamin. Yehuda had very strong fears of Yosef. And therefore his anxiety of Yosef pushed him, encouraged him to say a lie. When Yosef asked Yehuda, so how many brothers are you guys? So Yehuda said we have 12, and one brother died. He referred to Yosef. Although they did not know that Yosef maybe is alive, they did not know, it wasn't clear for them Yosef died, but he said very clearly that Yosef died. So what made Yehuda? It was a lie. So what made Yehuda to lie to Yosef? So Rashi is answering with because Yehuda had anxiety, therefore that encouraged him to lie to Yosef. It's very pella. It's very interesting that what kind of results, that how far the natural being of human being goes. Even Yehuda was a tzaddik gomer. Still, he released a lie from his mouth because he had fears and anxiety. So the reason why now, if you review briefly your own life, or be honest with your own self, you will see the majority of times that you feel that urge to lie, or the backbone for it is anxiety. A person who's not anxious, a person does not have fear, he lives a life fears free. About he has Iras Shemayim, but he has anxiety free lifestyle. He will never release a lie from his mouth. He will be just honest, because the main source of lie is anxiety. So anxiety becomes a very strong source of lying, and lying is very terrible behavior. You can't really create relationship with people who lie, and I'm not talking about even intimate relationship. I'm talking about it was any kind of relationship, a friendship relationship, and between husband and wife, you can't really create a relationship with a wife or husband who is lying to each other, especially the kids. Of course not. As long as there is no honesty between the parties, as long as there is no honesty between people, you can't have a relationship. You can't create deep and profound relationship. I'm not even going to profound relationship, any kind of relationship. Lie, it's very terrible neither, but it's not about working on the lie, right? It really can't work on lie. We just have to work on the source which causes people to lie, and the source is anxiety. As more kids will be raised at home, in a home free from pressure, as less they'll feel anxious, and as less they'll feel anxious, as more they will talk, they will say truth, and vice versa. As more kids will live their life under very strong attack of pressure. Even I would like to note is even the pressure associated with religion, learning, davening, saying Tehillim. It's sometimes the wives pressuring the daughters to daven and mincha and shacharis and mariv, or berachas hamazon, or fathers are pressuring their sons and daughters to do some duties associated with religion. It all will lead to one thing: to destroy, lie, and different problems. Of course, we need to encourage our kids to daven, to learn, to wake up, to discipline, but it has to be encouraged, not pressure. Not pressured. Of course, we need to encourage the child to be organized, and we have to be machanach our kids to be clean and to clean out after themselves. Of course, we have to encourage our kids to responsibilities, and they need to be responsible waking up in the morning, and they need to be responsible to do their homework and to do whatever they need to do. Of course, it's not, I'm not denying that, but it can't come with the pressure. As more we put pressure, as less we accomplish. As less we put pressure, as more we accomplish. That's the rule. As more pressure, as more anxiety. As less pressure, as more joy in relationship with the child. So let's say before Shabbos, let's say we ate the Shabbos meal, and now you ask one of the kids to clean to clean the floors, to clean the table. So we can do it in two ways, or we can go do it and do it, putting the pressure. Sometimes even not even verbal pressure, some that emotional pressure putting, child will execute it, child will do it, but it will put another stone to that being, to that building of anxiety and disconnection, and actually encouraging the child to lie in different areas, in different situations. As more we encourage the child by using different languages, how we're encouraging the child, please, can you do so respectfully, talking to a child, calmly talking to a child, encouraging actually the child to clean after themselves, the table, the floors. As more we creating the relationship, and as more we are educating the child, encouraging to discipline, and discipline, and just to say there to be a normal human being. So is homeworks. We can be on the child's head 24/7, and comes in the pressure in the child to do homework, condemning and criticizing, pressure. As less we won't achieve anywhere. We want we just the pressure just will make the child not to do, and downfalls and resentments and shaking and different problems. Also, we need to encourage the kids to do homework. We need to encourage the kids to do the duties we need to do, but not the pressure. Pressure is absolutely has zero benefit. There's no positive benefit coming out of pressure, but just but rather negative, and just destroying complete diminish in all the personality of the child. There's very significant letter that two letters actually. One is letter from Michael Lefkowitz, and one letter from Rav Steinman. So I would like to share with you both of them. There's a question where someone is asking Michael Lefkowitz. Shaila, I'll say the Lashon. Shaila, a lot of parents want to know how do we succeed with our kids? How can we have good kids? We'll keep the Torah and be just normal humans. So the answer, Chiva, Raishis, the first you should know, Rav Michael is saying, Surah Ladas, B'derech HaChinuk, Ech Es HaDerech HaMamutzes. We have to know a very fine, very pleasant way of Chinuk. Mechad Giso, from one side, Lo Lahachles Yoser Medai, we should not put a lot of pressure on kids. On either Giso, Lo Lafana Yoser Medai, from other side, not to baby, not like to like make the child to like a baby care. Also, we can't just go, we can just break the boundaries in these two concepts. The parent they have to invest to create that loving kesher, loving relationship with the kids. It should be pleasant air, pleasant atmosphere at home. So it's very clear answer from Michael Hude. How do we how possibly we can have good kids in this generation? The answer for it, less pressure. Not to put pressure. As more pressure we put on kid, as less chances we have to have a good kid. As more we're releasing that pressure of kids, as more chances we have, and looks like it's for sure will help to have good and righteous kids. That's the letter was Michael who writes. There's a different letter was the Rav Steinman writes, a very strong letter. Rav Steinman's shitta is that today's generation there is no such concept as chutzpah. There's no chutzpah today. Rav Steinman goes mamish against all the mechanechim and everyone, all the mechanechim, Rabbeim, Rosh Yeshivas. He goes against everyone. He is mechadish that today's generation there is no chutzpah. I'll say he writes the letter to one of the mechanic, and the letter goes as follows. There's one concept I keep on talking, and every place I come. Everybody is saying, all the mechanic is saying that today's generation is a lot of chutzpah. Chutzpah. That's the problem, chutzpah. I need to end. And then that's the root, that's the main problem of the chutzpah. Ladaiti, I think, ein chutzpah and duber kazeh. There's no such a concept as chutzpah. Yelet lo chatzuv, yelet, the child is not chutzpah. If all buys a sefer or buys, when a child comes to a school or home, he wants to be good. And because the parents and the yeshivas put a lot of pressure on him, then he spits out that not pleasant words or words of aggression. And then it's considered as a chutzpah. It's not chutzpah. No, because you put little more pressure, say more of a joking language. Why are you pressuring this child? So Rav Sham is saying, weiter, I don't know. Rav Sham says, I don't know any person that he has a child who's chutzpah. If you behave to a child the way you need to, is not a chutzpah. Is not chutzpah. She's saying that there is no, Rav Shlomo is saying that today's generation is no such concept as chutzpah. Meaning to say that if you're asking something to a child, and your child gives an attitude, or he's saying he's answering to you with certain words, like today's generation, we see a lot of times that even the kids sometimes can use nivel peh towards the parent, towards any other authority. And so we perceive chutzpah. One would say chutzpah, it ignites within parent selves or the Rebbeim self that puts us in that protection mode. We need to protect our identity. We start to attack the child. That Rav Shlomo was saying, when you hear from the child chutzpah words, is not chutzpah. His behavior is a behavior of chutzpah, but etzem is not the chutzpah. But so why he's talking the way he's talking? Because there's something there in the child that makes him to act like a chutzpah. What is that? Lachatz, pressure. As more we put pressure on the kid, as more we're exposing the child to be a chutzpan, to be a mechutzah. As less pressure the child would experience, as less pressure the child will feel of his parents, of his rebbeim, as less chutzpah words he will use. He'll become just a very cute baby. As Rav Shlomo is saying, none of the kids wants to be bad. No one wants to be bad. He comes to cheder to learn. He comes to adult comes to besmedish to daven. He comes to home to weiter. Everybody wants to be good. Kids generally wants to be good. They want to be good. Why he's behaving the way he's behaving? Why are they behaving chutzpahdik? Because of their lachatz and the pressure that they feel and they receive of their parents and of their rabbeim. Rav Shlomo is saying, I don't think so. I don't think that someone was mechutz to Chofetz Chaim. Gam lo ben shloi. Even his son also not. Not because not only because Chofetz Chaim was a great man, and because Chofetz Chaim did not release, did not pressure, did not project pressure feelings to people around him. I said the same speech in America, Rav Shlomo is saying. In America is also one of the biggest problems of chutzpah. Everyone is screaming Then we need to work with the chutzpah, bucherim and girls that have chutzpah. Amarti lehem ein kazeh duvar. There's no such a concept as chutzpah. Yeled shebola beis sefer lo roitz liyas ra. A child comes to yeshiva, to cheder, to yeshiva, to bisiyanki, does not, or she does not want to be bad. Af echad lo roitz liyas ra. None of people wants to be bad. Very, very, very huge chidush was Rosh Hashanah is saying here. Rosh Hashanah is saying here, there's no such a thing as chutz for today's generation. It's like against all conventional system and conventional outlook what there is between mechanic and today's generation. Again, Rosh Hashanah was the Zukun Ador and the Good Lador. And he's saying a very concept which I think about this. It looks like it's very logical concept. But people just not aware what's the damage of pressure is. One of the damages is additional damage we counted before. It's chutzpah. When pressuring the child, go clean the house, go sweep the floors, wash the dishes, wipe the counters, put the lachats. Be aware you're gonna get back some kind of chutzpah attitude, because there is lachats. There is lachats, there is pressure, there is chutzpah. Free lachats, free chutzpah, no chutzpah. So therefore, it's very important. Again, when someone's mechutzav to someone, automatically trying to protect yourself. Chutzpah is very degrading. Someone's mechutzav to you is like puts you down. Someone tends to put you down, you start to become violent against him. But when the child saying the words he's saying is not saying it also because it's a chutzpah be'etzem, because he's natural chutzpah, because of his pressure that he's experiencing, therefore he's using the chutzpah language, but not because he's chutzpah himself. So I think it's very important. The same way that we feel it's important to clean before Shabbos mitzvah, it's mitzvah to daven. There's also mitzvah to create at home very pleasant and geschmack atmosphere. Zero pressure. Encouragement. Just encouraging the child to do homework. Encouraging the child to clean after the meal. Encouragement. No lachats. Because if we put the child pressure, he will put him in anxiety and leads him to sheker and leads him to a chutzpah. It's a very it's the pressure that becomes like a global problem, like a source of anxiety, and the anxiety pulls up different stuff with itself. It's more we create a pleasant platform at home. It's more we have wonderful and pleasant kids, good kids who are behaving and talking nicely with their parents. As Hashem will continue tomorrow, called Tov, a good Tov for everyone.